We are live.
Thank you very much, and good evening for having me. I am Prince Clem Agba. I am from Uneme Uzanu in Isako East local government of Edo State. I was raised up in Edo North, where I did my primary school in St. Vincent Primary School, Auchi, from where I went to St. John's College, Fuga. After my O-levels, I proceeded to Advanced College, Igwebe. In fact, my set was the last set of the A-levels there before the school was turned to a college of education. From there, I proceeded to the then Bender State University, Ekpoma, to read economics. And I graduated in 1985 with a BSc economics. I thereafter left for Port Harcourt, where I did my youth service with the Shell Petroleum Development Company, and after which I joined Pegasus Industries in Lagos as a production supervisor and later super engineering company in Ikorodu as our operations manager. In 1990, I joined the then Gulf Oil Company, which today is known as Chevron Nigeria Limited. I was in the supply chain management department of Chevron, and I had different positions of responsibility, which were like procurement manager, transport and travel manager, logistics manager in Kazakhstan. I would say that I'm an Edo diaspora or a Nigerian diaspora too, because I spent some years in the Chevron office in Houston, 1996 and in 1998. And then from 2006 to 2008, a period of close to 3 years, I was in Kazakhstan as the logistics manager, where I manage a personnel of about 1,652. I ran our railroad. I ran our land transportation. I was responsible for our severe weather. Even though I am Black and the only African that was in the management team, it was my responsibility to ensure that our roads were good enough for our vehicles to ply, and that our rail lines were also safe enough for our trains to move. Like you know, Kazakhstan has extreme weather conditions. When it's cold, it's cold. It goes up to minus 45 degrees centigrade. And with the wind chill, it goes up to minus 50. When it's hot, it's really, really hot, plus 45 degrees centigrade. And then sometimes with the wind chill, it goes up to plus 50. I had returned from Kazakhstan when Comrade Adam Salih Oshomole invited me to join his government. And so I joined Comrade Adam Salih Oshomole's government January 2009 as the Commissioner for Environment and Public Utilities. I'd barely spent a year when he sent me to the Ministry of Land, Survey and Housing, where I spent 5 months, and then I came back again to the Ministry of Environment and Public Utilities. As a Commissioner for Environment and Public Utilities, it was my duty to work on our urban renewal programs. It was also my responsibility to look at our flood and erosion control across the state. And in this area, we had quite a lot of progress made. If you look at Saple Road in Benin, Airport Road in Benin, Akpakpava, New Lagos Road, and the Ubawa Road, we had to do some redesign. The Lord fell on me to do those designs and to ensure that we also had a stormwater master plan in place. The storm master plan was very revealing, especially the studies which showed that we had about 23 watersheds in Benin City. Before we left government, we had dealt decisively with about 5 of those watersheds. And one of them, which is the biggest, was at 70% when the Comrade Governor handed over the reign of office to the current government. I went back to Chevron because I was on leave of absence when I came to Edo. And when I got back to Chevron, I became the manager, transport and travels. I had just barely spent 2 years when I got invited by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari to work for him as Minister of State, Budget, and National Planning. And as a minister, he gave me 3 responsibilities. One was to ensure that we have a long-term national development plan and a medium-term plan in place. The second was to ensure that we have a predictable budget cycle that starts from January and ends in December. And the third one was monitoring and evaluation to be reinforced. In all of these 3, I delivered. We have a long-term development plan for the country, which is the Nigeria Agenda 2050. We also have a medium-term plan currently running, which is the National Development Plan 2021 to 2025. I worked for 3.5 years as Minister of State responsible for budget and national planning, but presented 4 budgets. And each of these budgets started from January 1st and ended December 31st. At the end of the day, I was given a national award by Mr. President, the Commander of the Order of the Niger. The President of South Korea also gave me the highest civilian award they ever present to anybody, and it's a merit award. This was also given to me January 2023. The United Nations gave me an award as an SDG champion, and I'm the first Nigerian minister to be so awarded. The South Korean award, I am the first African to be so awarded, and for now, I'm still the only African that has that presidential award from South Korea. There are numerous other awards that I've gotten from different organizations. And from my own land, the Uneme land, they have made me the Officer of Uneme land. From far away Kogi State, they gave me the Otumba of Ejeku land. And in Auchi, where I grew up, I was named the Uduma of Auchi Sacred Kingdom. In a nutshell, that's me, that's who I am. And after superintending over the National Development Plan, where the problems of Nigeria have been enumerated, the solutions have been provided, all governors have assented to it, chairmen of local government in Nigeria assented to it. The Federal Executive Council gave the final approval and the president signed off. I don't see a lot of traction in the implementation of the plan. This is one of the reasons I'm offering myself to serve in Edo State as the governor of Edo State so that I can have that opportunity to implement those solutions that have been provided in the plan.
Unmute, comrade.
Yes, thank you very much, Prince Clem Agba. You are very much welcome to TCS Studios. I can say, honestly, that you have a very intimidating resume. However, I want to ask you, sir, why do you think that you are the best for the job to become the governor of Edo State 2024? Why should Edo State people trust you the most?
The first is my understanding of the state. I just did say a while ago, I was raised in Edo North, so I understand Edo North, the terrain. I did my tertiary education in Edo Central, and I'm married from Edo South. So from time to time, I go there, I move around. So I am a true Edo son with relationship across the 3 senatorial districts. In fact, my immediate elder brother's wife is from Uromi, and my wife's immediate younger sister's husband is also from Uromi. So you can see my connection across the 3 senatorial districts. Aside from that, I have organized private sector experience. And mark the words that I'm using. I'm not just saying the private sector. I mean the organized private sector, where there are rules, there are regulations to be followed. Aside from working in the organized private sector, I have sub-national government experience, having worked as a commissioner in the state for 7.5 years. I have also served at the national level, so I have some understanding of the workings at the federal level. And in my job as Minister of State, Budget and National Planning, it was my responsibility to handle a lot of these multilateral agencies, dealing with the various embassies, especially on the areas of grant aid to the country. So with all of this experience, I've spent almost 20-something years in Chevron, of which 17 of those years I served as manager. And having worked as a commissioner and a minister, I believe I have the wherewithal, the understanding, the experience to be able to navigate the terrain and to manage people. In all of these jobs that I've gone through, compassion is very, very important. Empathy is very important, because leadership is not about just dishing out instructions and controlling. It is about getting the people to go the way that you want them to go, having an understanding of where you want to be, the vision. And then you get the people together to try and develop that pathway that takes you to the destination that you want to get to. And I believe that I'm that person who has this experience to be able to take our state to greater heights.
Wow.
Dr. Agba, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Prince Clem Agba, for your point-blank answers to these questions that have been put to you. And I must say I'm very impressed, and I'm sure the Edo State diaspora across the world, they are watching, and even those that will watch this program later on, to all you are saying very, very well. But sir, the question I want to ask you is, there is this trending issue of homeboy as far as the Edo 2024 political dynamics is all about. But there's a school of thought that believe that it shouldn't be about homeboy or whether somebody is not or is. It should be about competence, character, capacity, know-how, and experience. So I want to ask you, sir, would you consider yourself a homeboy in the context of what has been happening since this particular primary campaign began? What is your take, sir?
I'm not just a homeboy, I'm a village boy. In all of the schools that I said I attended, they were all in villages. When I went to St. Vincent Primary School, Auchi was a village. It wasn't this big as it is today. When I went to St. John's College, Fuga was a village. There was no water. Every day we had to go to the river. We trekked 3 to 4 kilometers to go and have our bath and then fetch water and bring back. And up to today, Fuga is still struggling with the issue of water. When I went to Advanced College, Igwebe was a big village. Just last week, as I was doing my local government to local government campaign, I passed by the current College of Education, Igwebe, which used to be Advanced College Igwebe, where I studied, just to take a look at the place. What I saw is that the place has gotten worse. And one expects that as you grow, you get better. But you are right. It is not just about being a homeboy. It is about understanding the problems of the home and how to deal with it and solve it. It is about competence. It is about character. It's about empathy. And all of this, like I said, I have. So it's not about just singing the homeboy stuff. If you go to my village, Uzanu, where I come from, I have shown example of what one can do and how one can transform a local village, to be urbanized, and which is one of the things that I'll be talking about as I go from local government to local government. Because in that national development plan that we put in place, one major issue that keeps resonating is the fact that our rural areas have completely been neglected, you know? And the plan did quite say that 60% of our people live in these rural areas. And at this 60% of our people produce 90% of the food we eat, of which the post-harvest loss is 60%. So if our farmers are producing 10,000 tons of goods and only 4,000 gets to the market, it means that they are laboring in vain. When we want our votes, we go around the entire state, and all votes are equal, all thumbprints are equal, because they all count as one. But what happens is that when one comes into governance, you completely abandon the rural areas. And that's why I've come out with my trust agenda, which is transforming rural and urban spaces together. I take that again. Trust. That's transforming rural and urban spaces together. Because our national development plan was quite clear on the solution to this issue of a neglect of our rural areas. And it talks about having integrated rural development, where we begin to take development, capital projects to the rural areas. One of which is roads. A while ago, I mentioned that there's a 60% post-harvest loss. How do you remedy that? To remedy it, you have to create access to the market. And one way of creating that access to the market is to ensure that there are roads, so that whatever is produced can get to the market. In fact, the market will need to go to the farm gate to go and pick up those products. If you look at the inflation rate today in Edo, it's about 26.6%. I spoke with the Statistician General last week, and I asked him to disaggregate this inflation for me. What's our food inflation? And what he told me was that it was 33.5%. So if food alone is 33.5%, and then I said, what's the consumption pattern for Edo State? Say 55% of all our money is spent on food. The next one is spent on power. That's on fuel and power. The third one is on communication. That's telephony. And then the last one, in following up, those last three are all 20-something percent, is education. So if 55% of our money is spent on food, fuel, power, and we are losing 60% of what is produced, that's a low-hanging fruit to be immediately dealt with. So for me, it's taking roads to those rural areas as envisaged in the National Development Plan, taking captive power to the rural areas, especially around these agro corridors. This is to encourage storing of food where you have some excesses, or also to encourage cottage industries to grow so that businessmen can begin to go to these rural areas and process. Then the issue of communication is key. Not just telephony, but the ability to have data to do what we are doing now. And to do that, you need to take fiber optics cable to the various villages around. And you find that just by doing this, apart from solving the issue of food, you will also be taking care of the problem of rural-urban migration. And as you do that, you are helping the cities, because what is currently happening in most of our Nigerian cities, and indeed in Edo, is that we are beginning to have slums in our cities. And once you have those slums, you have insecurity. So just by integrated rural development, you have solved quite a number of problems. For me, I believe in dealing with the basics. I know a lot of our people want to be like America. They want the country to be like Europe. But Europe and America have solved their basic problems of food, shelter, and clothing. Like Abraham Maslow says, there's an hierarchy of needs. we are yet to take care of the problem of food. So why should we be planning to go to the moon? Will hungry people go there? So these are the basic things I want to focus on rather than dwell on rhetorics.
Thank you very much, sir. Talking about rhetorics, I must say, sir, I'm sure you know too, that very many Nigerians have lost confidence in politicians because every politician comes out to say these sweet things. When you hear them, those are it is the rhetoric that convinces the people. And at the end of the day, for successive governments in place, the country doesn't seem to be changing. So I want to ask you, sir. 4 years ago, Governor Oba of Benin was re-elected overwhelmingly by Edo State people. He did speak to Edo State people like you are speaking right now. He made lots of promises. Today, Edo State people are, firmly divided. There's a wide portion that says that the governor has done well. There are others that are not very satisfied. What would you do differently if Edo State people elect you as the governor of Edo State? What will you do differently from Governor Obaseki to make you earn, the praise and confidence of the people of Edo State?
I think it is always good to look at someone's antecedents. The thing is, what did I do before with the positions that I've held? And it is that you will use and compare with what others who have been in similar positions have done. And then you can say, yes, this man has got the pedigree. He will be able to deliver. I am not the first minister from Edo State. I'm sure you know that. I think I am number 8 or number 9 because there have been 5 ministers from, I think, Edo Central and about 3 from Edo South. And I am the first minister from Edo North. And I can beat my chest to say that I am the first minister to have been able to attract so many projects to our state across the 3 senatorial districts. Over 100 projects.
Sir, can you give us some vivid examples of this project?
Okay. Where do you want these examples from? Edo Central or Edo South?
Yeah, across the 3 senatorial districts, just a few projects.
Okay, I start from Edo South. At the University of Benin Teaching Hospital alone, there are 5 projects. A molecular lab that was facilitated by my humble self. A communicable disease center based on bilateral discussions with the Japanese and funded by them. An ICU center for premature babies is there. We provided funding for personal protective equipment, especially during the period of COVID, and then isolation center. These same 5 projects were replicated at the Irua Specialist Hospital. And this year alone, for these 2 hospitals in the 2023 budget, I provided an intervention fund of $1 billion each for UBTH and Irua Specialist Hospital to decide on their area of needs and improve on them. Because based on what we did with the COVID, they did very well. The psychiatric hospital in Benin had 4 of those projects. From Ekenwa Army Barracks in Benin, all the way to Ikoro village, cutting across about 6 or 7 other villages, is a road, 19.5 kilometers. Around that area, Agba, we provided water. We put street lights in those areas around Ikoro and the market. In Edo North, for instance, in my village, Uzanu, there's an 80-bed hospital that was built, and a mini stadium was also built. Some form internal roads were done. Ewotubu Road in Benin, was provided for in the budget until the state government stopped the work. I was told that they said they had already awarded the contract. So one would have thought that since federal money was coming, you allowed that to go on and take your money somewhere else. In Auchi, we are building a 6 million liter daily capacity water tank to supply Auchi people water. In Warake, the gully erosion there was fixed. In Ewohimi, the gully erosion there was fixed. In Uromi, we provided water in about 3 of the Uromi communities. In Ewato, the same. So projects are spread across. And I beat my chest to say, go around from 1999 and look at the ministers and say, how many projects did they attract to the state? So if I was able to do this without having capital budget line, it's just by reaching out to colleagues and saying, please do this for me. I will be able to do much more when I have the executive power and I no longer have to go begging someone else to have it done.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sorry, boss.
I want to quickly come in here.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I don't want to lose this trajectory. Thank you, sir. I'm going to ask questions on your trust agenda, transformation, rural and urban spaces together.
Yeah, transforming rural and urban spaces.
Yeah, transforming rural and urban spaces together. So, and I'm going to ask questions around education, healthcare. You've already talked about agriculture. Then we'll look at the value chain around agriculture, then infrastructure, then security, which is very, very important. But there is something I want to quickly ask before we forget. And that has got to do with the issue of zoning. This week, we've seen the All Progressive Congress, having some meetings, the People's Democratic Party having meetings, even the Labour Party having meetings, other political parties around the issue of zoning. It is an issue that we cannot just wave away. Edo State, by segmentation, is Edo North, Edo South, Edo Central. So I want to hear your take, because everybody is watching and listening. The ASAN agenda is there. There is the Edo State agenda. So, sir, what do you think about this particular issue? Because it is a core matter in this particular 2024 election.
Okay, thank you very much. I think every political party has got a constitution, and the constitution clearly states what can and what cannot be done. The APC constitution does not make provision for zoning. That's one. I know that we've had a lot of people join us from PDP that talk about zoning. Perhaps this is where this is coming from. But having said that, they say in law that when you are going to equity, you go with clean hands. I believe in a Edo agenda, one. But in reality, if you look at it, is it truly the turn of Edo Central? Edo South has produced 4 governors in this state. Edo Central has produced 2 governors. In fact, the first one, Professor Ambrose Ali, he founded the then Bende State University, which I attended. And then we also had Professor Osubo. Yes, he was there for 18 months, but he was governor. He took decisions on behalf of the state. Comrade Adams Ali Oshomole has been the only governor from Edo North. So if you look at it from that trajectory, will you say it's an Edo Central turn? Okay, let's look at it another way. In terms of ministerial appointments, I think a little while ago I mentioned that Edo South has had 5 ministers. Edo Central has had 5 ministers. Edo South has had 3. I am the first minister to have come from Edo North. So if you look at it that way, is it truly the turn of Edo Central? And when we are talking about equity, you say you're also looking at population. If you look at it from that perspective, are we equal? Is it equity that we are talking about? I think what is really important is that there are deprivations everywhere. Deprivations in Edo South, deprivations in Edo Central, and deprivations in Edo North. When I look at the multidimensional poverty index, it shows that in terms of deprivations, it is more in Edo North, followed by Edo Central, and lesser in Edo South. When we are talking about poverty, we are looking at lack of access to some basic amenities. Lack of access to education, that's basic education, lack of access to basic health, lack of access to potable water, lack of access to sanitation. And all of these have a way of looking at the livelihood of the people. So there's this similarity across the three senatorial districts. So what we want is someone who should be able to deal with these issues. And that's why I'm presenting myself, because when I came out with the multidimensional poverty index, where I did say that 133 million Nigerians are poor, a lot of people attacked me and also attacked the president. They said that President Buhari had increased the poverty level in the country from 69.5% to 133. Whereas it's not true. The 69.5 is monetary poverty. That is lack of money, not having enough. But the multidimensional poverty, which is what is used worldwide now, especially in the advanced countries, is what is more important. You have the money in your pocket, but you don't have access. You are in the diaspora. You travel to your village. You have $50,000 in your pocket, and you fall sick at night. There is no hospital available to take you to. You are poor for that moment. Or you decide to relocate to your village with your children, and then there is no school. Or even if there is a school, they don't have teachers like it currently is. You have 2 teachers, 3 teachers in schools. Will you call that education? Villages are supposed to have potable drinking water. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. So if we keep going to river to fetch river water, then the tendency to fall sick will be higher. And then you find that we don't even have primary health care centers. Government is struggling to be building big hospitals everywhere. Whereas government needs to focus on providing primary health care centers across the 192 political wards. So that when you have the basic illness of malaria here or typhoid or whatever, that is the first point of call. But now people start by going to the teaching hospitals, which is absolutely wrong. These are the things I want to deal with. These are the things that are basic. I hear some of other aspirants say they would industrialize the state. Sometimes I ask myself, how do you want to do this? We have seen that government-funded industries have failed in this country because government is not in the business of doing business. Government can invest, but not have majority shares, not have controlling powers, not be the management of those companies. So what government does is create the enabling environment. And if you want to put some funds, you can put some little funds just to show that you are committed, but not to begin to build those industries. And that's why today in Nigeria, all our industries are gone because they belong to everybody and they belong to nobody, and no one takes care of them. So zoning will not help all of this. It is the experience, it is the competence, it's the understanding of what has to be done, that matters, irrespective of where that individual comes from.
So, from you, we can safely deduce that you belong to the school of thought of the Edo agenda instead of Asan agenda.
Edo State
Absolutely.
agenda.
Edo State agenda, yes. That being said, I want to take you to an area which made huge headlines, particularly amongst Edo State people all around the world. And as a matter of fact, at the time, the internet was buzzing, and the headlines was about you. Not too long ago, you paid a visit to the palace of the Oba of Benin.
Yeah.
And of course, our understanding was that, as part of your consultations, to let His Royal Majesty Omonoba Nedoku Akpolokpolo know that you are, you are aspiring to become the governor of Edo State. And that encounter had different interpretations. But overwhelmingly, there was the interpretation from some school of thought that you may not have had the blessings of the Oba of Benin, which many consider to be very crucial. Well, again, these are, matters that, did go viral. How do you respond to these?
Yeah, thank you very much for this very, very important question. In the first place, my visit to His Royal Majesty, Amonobane Doku Apolopolo, had nothing whatsoever to do with politics. And in that my visitation, you can go and play the videos. I never mentioned anything about politics or about me contesting. I never requested for support to contest. All I did say to His Majesty is that I finished my assignment and I felt that I should come back home and say thank you. I did mention that His Royal Majesty wrote to the then president asking that at least two ministers to come from Edo State. So when Comrade Adam Sali Oshomole nominated me to become a minister, it went through. So I was saying to His Majesty, thank you, because I believe that he played a role in the letter that he sent. His Majesty asked some questions, which, like I said in my letter, every public officer should be asked those questions. What did you do while you were in office? Who did you help while you were in office? And what you did, were they distributed evenly across the state? But of course, His Majesty spoke after I spoke. I am a son of a king. I respect our tradition and culture. And I didn't think it was right for me to get up right there and start responding to the question that His Majesty had asked. But thank God he gave me an opportunity. I met with him later that night, and then we spoke. I have seen on social media where people have written that I stole 1.9 billion of the palace money. There is nothing like that. How could I have done so? What His Majesty spoke about is that I made a provision of 1.9 billion in the budget. That's the 2023 budget that is still running, for the purpose of building a museum. His Majesty said, you have access to me. You should have consulted me so that I would have advised on how best, it would have been scripted in the budget. And we also had that discussion at night, and I apologize for not making contact with him on it, because I had thought that the DG of the Museum and Monuments Commission was working with His Majesty. But that was my mistake, and I apologize. But no money was taken and no money was stolen. His Majesty also talked about the state of the Okene Benin Road, and he said it was in bad state. Everybody knows that road is in bad state. I wasn't Minister of Works, and that road construction started 15 years ago. I only served as minister for 3.5 years, the last 4 years. So I could not have been responsible for the state of the road. But I tried to assist, to provide help for that road, because I found out that the problem of the road was that of funding. And that is why I approached my colleague, the former Minister of Works, His Excellency Fashola. I spoke to my colleague, the former Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, and also the Chairman FIRS, to see if we can have alternative way of funding that road, which indeed we did, and got approval for tax credit to be applied on that road from NMPC. There are 4 sections of the road. Each section was given 25 billion. And in the 2023 budget, I also made a provision for 2 sections, 5 billion each. So that's a total of 85 billion. That's where my work starts and it ends. I am not the one to engage contractor. It is the implementing ministry, which is Ministry of Works and Housing. But before I left, I went to them to say, why hasn't work started? And the response I got was that the contractors, because there's one contractor per section of that road, have asked for what we call augmentation. They said the rates that they have for that roads are low because it's been over time, there's inflation, time value of money, and they will not go back until those rates have been augmented. That is obviously beyond my pay grade. But I feel that Nigerians or Edo people should commend me for being able to take care of the main problem, which is that of funding, which was provided.
Thank you very much, sir, for putting a lot of clarity on this very, very sensitive issue. And I'm sure Edolites across the world and the entire diaspora, they are hearing you loud and clear. So
I think people just try to play politics with it and say what His Majesty didn't say. I have huge respect for His Majesty. I have huge respect for the entire traditional institution. I, as a person, I am not very happy the way our traditional rulers are currently being treated, because they are our heads. It's like when you go to war and the head is cut off, then you are defeated. If the general is killed, then you are defeated. So if our traditional institutions are dealt with, are crushed, they are killed, then we have been dealt with. And I don't subscribe to that. And I don't see why people would want to use the traditional institutions to play politics where there is no politics.
Thank you very much, sir. So this is going to lead us to the next question, which is, this is very key to a lot of the Edo State diaspora as it is.
Yeah.
During this current government, there was a failed attempt for the creation of an Edo State Diaspora Commission, just like what we have at the national level with the one headed by Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa. So, if by the grace of God you become the governor of Edo State, how do you intend to leverage with the huge potential of the Edo State diaspora? Because the available data says that there are about 17 million Nigerians in the diaspora. And sir, you will agree with me that of that 17 million, probably 50-60% are going to be people from Edo State, because we move around a lot. Our people travel a lot compared to some other states. And available data, what I saw from Tech Economy, PwC, and all that, shows that this year that is ending, over $20.5 billion have been remitted to Nigeria from the diaspora. So, and again, the percentage is going to be more in Edo State. So the diaspora is a very vital block when it comes to the issue of governance and the economy of our dear state of Edo. So how do you hope to work with the diaspora?
Thank you very much, Dr. Tony. Like I said, I am a diaspora myself, or rather I was. So I understand all of these issues. And I also want to let you know that I also represented Nigeria in the OACPS states. That's the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States. And one of the resolutions we took there at our last Heads of States meeting in Angola was to set up the Diaspora Commission for OACPS states. I was there with Abike Dabiri. So it's something that I believe in. You are preaching to the choir. When I have the opportunity to become governor, it's something that will happen, because I have signed agreements on behalf of the president of Nigeria for such to be taking place. And we have now set up a diaspora commission within the OACPS state. and Abike Dabri is the first chair of that commission, aside from the one in Nigeria. Charity, they say, begins at home. So let the opportunity come and then
and let's see what
yes.
what happens to the opportunity. Thank you very much, sir. So, there are, because as we are having this session, a lot of comments. We have a lot of comments on Facebook, on YouTube, everywhere, and some people seem to be asking questions around the subject matter. But just before I ask this question, please, if you're out there, please help share this broadcast as much as you possibly could. Thanks for joining everybody who has joined. And please, if you want to call in to ask His Excellency a question directly, you will have the numbers there scrolling right there on your screen. Call in. We have even dropped it on the comment section on YouTube and Facebook. You can call in. And of course, let's be civil as much as possible. This is about Edo State, and it's important that we are civil. So I want to ask you, because you did I highlighted a bit when you were speaking earlier about the water storm projects, which you are. I mean, when you were commissioner, you were part of the government of Oshomole, that had that done. And when Governor Obaseki was campaigning in 2020. He faulted the water storm project. As a matter of fact, he alluded to the fact that the water storm project, was a project that got about 30 billion or something, and that it had no headway, and he was going to probe the project. He said that. As a matter of fact, those state people applauded him for that. And even with the water storm project, Edo State is still very much submerged underwater. The erosion is still a big problem in the state. Though Governor Obaseki has not, gone ahead with the probe that he promised that those people he was going to probe, but because you are involved with this project and the questions are still around this project, they are still hanging in the minds of the people of Edo State, particularly the electorate. What is your response to these issues? Did you people really, do that project? Was there corruption? What really happened?
Thank you very much. Usually they say our people die for lack of knowledge. Storm water, there is a master plan for it that was expected to take over 30 years to be completed. It's not a project, okay? When I was speaking earlier, I did mention that there are 23 watersheds in Benin City, sub-watersheds, and there are two main watersheds, Agba River and Ikoba River. What it means is whenever it rains, those are the two places that water will end. Two, the 23 watersheds are the different directions that the water will flow. Eventually, it will end up in those two main watersheds. And so what we did was we started taking watershed by watershed and dealing with them. If you go to Upper Lawani area, that is a watershed that was taken care of. The 5 Junction area is a different stormwater project that was done and completed. The Tombline area is another one that was done and was completed. The one that they are referring to, which is say 30 billion, is the Uwelu East and Uwelu West watershed. Those are 2 watersheds together that we're dealing with because it's the main tributary to Agba River. And what the study showed is that 3/4 of rainfall in Benin, the water, ends up in Agba River. So there was a need to have a tributary that will collect all the waters into that river. So that's the main primary drain that we are working on. But again, the government at that time, government of Comrade Adams Oshomole, believed in holistic infrastructure development. So we say any area you go to is complete infrastructure. So we are building primary drains, which some of them were underground. The entire Egbinadu was street, has a double cell underground drain, but you have the road on top. Okay? There are open trapezoidal drain of about 8 kilometers. The covered drains, that's the underground, is another 8 kilometers. Siloko Road was dualized. and made 6 lanes. It's part of it, with walkways and side drains. There's street lighting. There are about 11 roads that are involved in that contract. And the contract value was 30.4 billion. So it was used to campaign for Governor Baseki in 2016. President Buhari came and commissioned the already completed parts of that project, like the teacher's house area. The Mami water that was there was driven. I hope you remember how teacher's house area used to be.
Yes.
People used to fish there in the city. All of that was taken care of, and that road was done up to Channel 55. Okay? So what was done was 70% of the work. And it was just about 22 billion that had been paid, not 30.4, because the contract had not been completed. And the payments for this were going directly from the Ministry of Finance to the contractor. So it wasn't passing through Ministry of Environment. You understand the point I am saying? Yeah. When the governor went to a site and he was saying, you can see here, we have gone about 2-3 meters. And look at what they have done. This is so shallow. They have come here to steal money and all of that. I laugh because either he had not read the report, or his team, those who he put there, have not read the report. Because in that particular spot he went to, there are 2 watersheds. It drains 2 different ways. One was the beginning. That's the both beginning of 2 watersheds, one flowing to the left and the other one flowing to the right. Okay? And when you are constructing drains, you have to create a velocity for it so that as it's going, it becomes self-cleansing. But because they did not know, they went, awarded the contract without looking at the study, and then they went so deep, which was creating a problem. And it created a problem between the 2 contractors. Because they called the main contractor and he refused. He said, I'm not going to destroy my stuff. We read the report. This is what was supposed to be done. But unfortunately, the commissioner who was there in the Ministry of Works that was handling did not understand. And in the first place, it's not Ministry of Works that should handle primary drains. It's the responsibility of Ministry of Environment because they deflood the city. Works only will do side drains to protect their road. And that's why during my time, we worked together with Ministry of Works so that wherever we are going to work on roads, would ensure that there are primary drains available to take the water away. But you agree with me that if you buy a brand new car, after a month, you will send it for maintenance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Will it not change the oil?
Yeah.
Will it not change the plugs?
Yeah.
So the drains that we have built, what has stopped the government from desilting them? When we did the work in the 5 junction, was it not flowing? When we did the work in Tom Lines, was it not flowing? It was. But there's a lot of siltation going on. So the government needs to do its work of desilting them.
So
in
apparently
2017, I sent a WhatsApp message to the governor. And I said, these are the roads that you will need to desilt because we have done A, B, and C. And if you don't do them, you are going to find yourself in a very bad situation because the whole city will be flooded. But he didn't listen and he didn't do it. And I cannot do it for him from outside. And the work that has been done so many years ago requires maintenance. If he doesn't maintain them, that's not the fault of Clem Agba.
So
the stormwater is not a 30 billion project. It's going to take about 300 billion as at the exchange rate of 2010. Okay, not today's exchange
rate. So we're approximately about $1 trillion now.
Depending on the funding, it's supposed to take about 30 years to do. But I'll tell you that since we left, not a bag of cement has been added to the 70% that we have done. So if tomorrow the government wants to continue on that project, it's going to cost even more.
So apparently what you are saying, yeah. So apparently what you are saying now is that the government of the present government has not done anything concerning the project. Is that what is accounting for the flooding in Edo State right now? In Benin City,
Of course, they are not doing more, and they are not maintaining the ones that were done. Number one issue is the maintenance. You understand? When you build drains, you clean them. If you don't clean them, they get clogged up. And when they get clogged up, everywhere gets flooded.
Okay, sir. Yeah, I want to quickly move
Dr. Agba, just before you come, we have somebody who is waiting on a caller who is waiting.
We take a call. Yeah. Okay.
Hello, my friend. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Moses, and I'm calling from.
Can you speak a bit louder? We can barely hear you, really.
Okay, hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Go ahead, sir. Your name?
My name is Moses. I'm calling from the United Kingdom.
Moses from the United Kingdom. Go on, sir.
I just want to ask some few questions. I want to speak to the former honorable minister. I don't know if that exists. My question is this. First of all, I want to make a comment. I don't think he said he works in the last administration of President Buhari. I don't think anyone should be proud of working for that government, because that government is the government that has put us in the mess that we are in right in the country. That aside, I want to ask this. Don't you think it's selfish on your part, to say you want to be a governor at this time, when we've had the government of 8 years of Adamon Shomole, and also we now have the DG, which is also from the side of the state. So I am from Edo State, and I don't know if you've done your poll or if you ask questions around. I'm sure the feeling of the Edo people now is to rotate the governorship to the Edo Central. Don't you think it's the time of the Edo Central to actually present a governor?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moses, for calling in. If you had followed this program from the beginning, he did respond to a subject like this. But Prince, over to you. An electorate is asking a question.
Yeah, I think that the issue has already been dealt with. I spoke extensively about it. But as for being ashamed to work with the immediate past president, I'm not. I am proud of the work that I did, and I have spoken about the work that I did. For a very long time, Nigeria has not had national development plans. You know, we've been doing agenda this, agenda that, 1 year, 2 years, which is not good in the life of a country. So I took Nigeria back to planning. And then when you come to the issue of budget, you know, we have never had a predictable budget cycle since 1999. And I produced 4 budgets in the 3.5 years, and each of them was on time. It started January 1st and ended December 31st. The other area that I was assigned to work on was the issue of monitoring and evaluation. I looked at our budget, sometimes 30,000 projects a year, sometimes 40,000 projects, with a department of 30 people to do monitoring and evaluation. I decided to work on getting a software, an app that Nigerians can use, which we christened iMac. And I challenge you to look at it, imac.ng. You download it on your phone, you see federal government projects around you, and you can use it to bring feedback to government. So for me, I think it is better that 200 million Nigerians monitor projects rather than 30 people in the Ministry of Budget and Planning doing that. So I'm very, very proud of the work that I have done. I'm not ashamed. And that's why I want to be governor of Edo State, so that I can replicate what I have done, so that I can also implement what everyone, those who participated in the National Development Plan, the private sector, the women, the youth, religious bodies, physically challenged, the governors, the local government chairmen, have said that we should do. Since no one is implementing, I want to go and implement, because I watch TV and I still see people talking about the problems of Nigeria and the solutions. Those are already provided. So if you Google National Development Plan 2021 to 2025, you will find the plan there. We made it public. Under me as Minister of Budget and Planning, we brought transparency into the budget. We made it more open. We started engaging Nigerians. And in the transparency index for the world, Nigeria moved 24 points upwards in budget transparency under my watch. So why should I be ashamed?
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Agba, before you come on, we have another caller waiting. Hello, my friend. Where are you calling from? What's your name?
My name is Ben, and I'm calling from Manchester.
Ben from Manchester. Please speak louder. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Please, can you tune down your device a bit, please? Just reduce your device and speak and talk to us.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ben, and I'm calling from Manchester. I've got a question for Agba. My question, sir, is first of all, let me wish you well for your desire to want to be a district governor. Having said that, my question is that I want to ask you, sir, what plans do you have for the youth of Edo State? Because if you ask me, I will say subsequent governments we've had in Edo State have not actually had a concrete plans for the youth of Edo State. That's why today you see a lot of Edo citizens, wanting to either leave the state or even leave the country, because it appears back home in Edo State, the government hasn't done enough, or it's not doing enough to keep them at home by way of engaging them. So what are your plans for the Edo State youth, sir? That's my question. Thank you.
Plans for Edo State youth. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, I think they're just making me repeat things over and over again.
Yeah.
I did talk about trust, transforming our rural and urban spaces together. Yes. And in doing this, I talked about integrated rural development, while we will continue with our urban renewal programs. I talked about the issues of deprivations, deprivations, lack of access to education, lack of access to health, lack of access to potable drinking water and sanitation, and then the general living conditions of the people. I said I'm not going to focus on doing the big things that people like to see, you understand? Because we have to take care of our basic needs first. When you look at Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we are still at the bottom. Yes. You understand? So I want to deal with those issues that have to deal with hunger and poverty, so before we begin to go to our self-esteem and where we are spending a lot of our money currently.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Time go very quick when you are on a program like this. I think we've even gone beyond the time we actually, allocated for this program. We want to join the last caller, Ben from Manchester, to wish you all the best in this endeavor. We appreciate the way you have, answered some of the questions. No holds bar. You didn't keep anything behind the door. You spoke openly and very, very honestly. We appreciate you for that, sir. So as we wrap up, the Edo State diaspora, they are watching. I want you to give your kind of message to them. What is it you want to tell them? Because that is very, very important. What is it that you want to tell the Edo State diaspora as we conclude this interview?
For the diaspora, my message is, I am one of you. I was in diaspora, so I understand the issues. You understand? And we will work with you and ensure that by the grace of God, when I become a governor, we'll set up a commission where you will participate. Secondly, I don't see anything wrong in having a diaspora as a commissioner or a special advisor. We will get you involved in governance, because we need all the ideas from everywhere. Ideas are what actually runs a place. It's not money. You can have all the money in the world and you are not thinking, or you are thinking from within the box and not outside the box. Yeah. And for me, being a student of Stephen Covey, I believe in having different views, analyzing, and then before taking a decision. And the views of the diaspora is important.
Thank you very much, Prince Clem Agba. I mean, a lot of course are coming in, but time is definitely not our friend of this program. But I want to I played with you that as time goes by, we may want to invite you again. And apparently, if you become the candidate of the APC, rest assured that we want to have you on this program as often as can be. But having said that, sir, I equally want to say, as we are wrapping up, that we'd like you to speak your dialect. I mean, just a few words. Whichever languages you can speak that is of the Benin or Edo State origin. Whether it's Benin or Afemai or Esan. I mean, just a few words so that we can because that way we can identify with you as a proper home boy, or in your own case, a village boy.
Eso awado awa meba rekwele iri akata otome. So my afema iru ebakpo Christmas nara luna oge na ora de gbeva. Wamo.
Thank you very much. Thank you so very much. Well, viewers, that's been Prince Clem Agba, former Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We've had over an hour engagement with him. And of course, we've touched on many things. All I'm just going to say is that please, if you are joining this broadcast, whether you're watching or you're going to watch later, please share this broadcast. Stay with the Comrade Show. 2024 is just around the corner. And of course, we're already engaging with the aspirants. The important thing is for us to know what they have for us. Prince Clem Agba has done justice to this interview today. Of course, he has helped set some records straight because there had been lots of misconceptions here and there. He's been able to come out here to say his own side of the whole story and all of that. So at the end of the day, this is what this whole program is about. My name is Comrade Lamte Oriaki, and I've been with Dr. Tony Agbansewafe. Prince Clem, I want to say a very big thank you to you. Your last word for the people.
The future is very bright. Have me as your governor, and together we will make Edo State a Wadoge state, a marvel to behold.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Dr. Tony Agbons.
Yeah. On this note, distinguished Edo State diaspora across the world, it's been your darling program, the one we call the Sunday Tonic, once again. So please, like we said, like this broadcast, share it everywhere. Don't enjoy it alone. Edo State belongs to us all, and we will all salvage it together. Have a blessed new week, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. Bye for now.